Hi everyone, welcome to week 9, our online class session. Have a pen and paper handy as we go through. We're going to be talking about nonfiction text. So I thought I'd just get us started off with a little image about nonfiction text. Nonfiction text contains features like photographs, captions, and titles. And we need to teach our students explicitly what these features are and how to use them. So in this session, we'll be talking a little bit about your Lit Circle teaching topics. I want to review that before you turn it in on Canvas. We will be talking about nonfiction comprehension lesson and nonfiction text itself. We're going to talk a little bit about opinion and argument writing, and you're going to do some writing. And then we will talk about the Lit Circle opinion and argument writing that is coming up for next week, April 4th. So just to go back a little bit, due on March 28th is the Lit Circle Teaching Topics Planning Chart. And I know we didn't have a chance to talk about this in class, so I just wanted to bring your attention to it and encourage you to go check out the assignment guidelines on Canvas, where I explain kind of what you might put in each of these columns. But basically what you're doing here is you are thinking about if you were using your Lit Circle book, so whichever group you're in, we'll just say, for example, Brown Girl Dreaming. So you'd have the title here, the author, the genre, what kind of text is it, and approximately what reading level it is. What grade do you think this would be appropriate for students to read on their own? Then you're going to go through and think about each of these different areas and what students might need to know or what you might teach to go along with this if you are going to use this book as a Lit Circle selection in your classroom. So go back to Canvas. I updated the assignment guidelines to give you a little bit more direction since we did not have time to do this in class. And don't forget to scroll all the way to the bottom of this document and develop a few questions for discussion that you might ask if this was a Lit Circle book in your classroom. Okay, moving along to nonfiction and informational text. So this is where you're going to need a pen and paper. Jot a quick list. What do you think of when you hear the term nonfiction text? Pause your video for just a moment, jot down a few ideas, and when you have 5 or 6 ideas about what you think of when you hear nonfiction text, what kinds of texts are those? What do they make you think about? Then press play. Okay, now that you have a few ideas about what you think of when you hear nonfiction text, I'll share a few things I think of when I hear nonfiction text. So one of my favorite nonfiction texts is the food section of the San Francisco Chronicle. We get the Sunday paper. I love the food section. I also love to read cookbooks. You can see a theme here. So nonfiction text to me is anything that I read that is, not a novel, not a poem, not short story. So nonfiction text can really be anything. I'm going to ask you to think again and jot down a few ideas, pausing the video again, to write down a few ideas about what helps you understand informational text. So what are things that you do as a reader or strategies that you have that help you make sense of informational text? So coming back to our discussion of informational text, some things that I do include rereading, really important, especially if it's something technical, especially if the vocabulary isn't really familiar to me. Putting my finger along the margin. Sometimes I will just, it's not tracking word by word, but sometimes I'll just put my finger in the margin of what I'm reading to keep my place, especially if it's really dense nonfiction text. I definitely use those text features like we saw on the first slide, things like captions, photos, maps, things like that can really help us understand nonfiction text. As I mentioned, you as the teacher need to explicitly teach your students how to understand nonfiction text. To practice that a little bit and see an example, we're going to watch this video. This is Jennifer Saravallo, who writes about Reading and Writing Workshop. So I'm going to ask you to pause my video here, go back to Canvas to the assignments page for our online class session, and click on the link for the YouTube for Jennifer Saravallo's video. I think that's going to work better than trying to watch the video embedded in a video. So pause here. Think about these two questions while you watch. What did you notice about the classroom, the students, and the teacher? And how does Jennifer reinforce the strategy to help her students understand nonfiction and informational text? So pause here, click out to Canvas, watch the YouTube, and come back. Okay, now that you watched the video of her small group instruction strategy lesson around using text features to understand vocabulary, I want you to just reflect for yourself. What did you notice? This was a small group. Your nonfiction lesson plan can be for a small group or for a whole group. If it's a need that the whole class has in understanding nonfiction text, that is fine. If you notice there's a small group of students who need the same support in understanding nonfiction text, that is also fine. If you are not in a classroom right now and you're writing kind of a hypothetical lesson plan, it's fine to choose either. So one thing I noticed about the classroom and the teacher was she was very specific. She was very on point with her teaching point. She stated in the beginning why they were there in the group. She sent them off to work on their own individual texts. She checked in with them. She asked them questions to make sure that they were really practicing the strategy. And then when they came back together, they had to share with her how they had used the strategy. So she made sure at multiple points throughout the lesson that she was checking in, asking them to describe what they were doing, how they were using the strategy, and then having them repeat the strategy at the end, and then sending them off with the reminder to use the strategy again. So multiple points throughout the lesson. Think about that idea of at multiple points throughout the lesson, reminding students, showing students, clearly explaining to students what is the skill or strategy that you are teaching and asking them to try when they are reading nonfiction text. Remember, for the nonfiction comprehension lesson, you are going to be taking students through a specific nonfiction reading strategy and having a clear teaching point about that skill or strategy. So you're going to choose a nonfiction text at the 3rd or 8th grade level. Could be a section of a book, could be a section of a textbook, could be an article that you find online, could be any kind of informational text that is at or near the grade level of your student's reading level. If you're teaching this to a small group, it does not need to be at their exact grade level. It can be closer to their actual reading level. So let's say you're planning this for a small group of struggling readers. Choose a text that is at or near their reading level, so more instructional level because you're going to be doing it with them. Then you're going to identify that teaching point. What is a nonfiction reading strategy that you think your students need? Do they need to determine importance? How do you find the important points in nonfiction text? Do they need to learn to ask questions to clarify when they're reading nonfiction text? Remember that we talked briefly about if you're choosing note-taking, choose a small piece of note-taking. You cannot teach them to note-take in one small lesson. Be sure you tie your teaching point to your learning objectives. Be sure that you model for students, give them opportunities to try it together, and then give them independent practice with this skill or strategy. You can use any of the ideas from Classrooms That Work Chapter 8. You're going to be talking about those in your discussion for this week. So feel free to use and adapt any of those ideas, those lesson frameworks that were presented in the chapter. If you decide to use or adapt ideas from any other source, including Classrooms That Work, make sure that you indicate in the materials section of the lesson plan that you adapted it from another resource. Give credit for things that you find. It's fine to borrow ideas, change ideas, but make sure that you give credit. Please answer the reflection questions number 1 and 4 at the end of the lesson plan. If you actually teach your lesson to students and you would like to answer all 4 questions, you are welcome to, but please answer questions 1 and 4 whether or not you actually teach your lesson. If you need additional resources to guide you, there's more comprehension resources linked in this assignment guideline. There is also an example lesson. I want to remind you over and over again, if you know you're someone who has trouble developing original work after you see an example of someone else's work, save it until you finish. So finish yours, write it up in the lesson plan template, then go to the example to see if you're on the right track. Remember that your work must be your original work. It's fine if it's adapted from other sources, but it's an original lesson plan you've created. This lesson plan example is just to guide you. And then you have the rubric of how you're going to be evaluated on this lesson plan, making sure that the text is appropriate to the grade level, the title of the text, so whatever text you use, whether it's an article, chapter from a textbook, make sure you include the title in your materials section. Make sure you focus on one specific strategy or teaching point. Don't try to do too much, keep it narrow. Make sure these correspond to the sections of the lesson plan itself. So if you're not sure what I mean by overview, look at the lesson plan format. The overview refers to the first part. Make sure you have a clear assessment plan. How are you going to know whether students have met your learning objectives for this particular lesson? The instructional sequence is a big part of it. Make sure it's very clear so that I can see what are you doing as the teacher, what are the students doing at each stage of the lesson. You need to differentiate for at least one specific kind of learner. You can see, in the example, I differentiated for 2 different kinds of learners. You are only responsible for differentiating for one specific kind of learner. That goes in the differentiation accommodations section. Make sure you have a clear rationale. Classrooms at Work would be an excellent reference to cite as you think about why it's important to teach these strategies for nonfiction text. And then make sure it's proofread. Remember, you'll have time to work a little bit more on your draft when you bring it to class with you on April 4th. I'm going to stop this video here and start a new video for the second half of the slides and online session for this class.